Good morning to all and welcome to the session, the Hindu Editorial Analysis for Proficiency in English. Today's editorial is all about a fire accident in Shivakasi in one of the fireworks factory. Obviously, this editorial talks about the safety protocols. It talks about how to go about when it comes to dealing with hazardous material. Not very difficult to follow, and there are about 20 words. Let us have a look at the words first, then we'll go to the editorial. What are the words that you can learn from this editorial? The first one is hub. Today we talk, when we use the word hub, usually it goes with the IT industry, hub. The exact meaning, it has got two or three meanings. One meaning, the central part of a wheel. If you take a wheel, the central part, that is known as a hub. But in this context, it has a different connotation altogether. What is the meaning of the word hub? Part of speech noun, the effective center of an activity, a region, or network. Imagine there's a company, many branches, but a particular part, a lot of activity takes place. That we call the hub, the main center of activity. Protocols, we have got many a time. What is the meaning of the word protocol? Protocol means the official procedure or system of rules governing affairs of state or diplomatic occasions. Imagine the president comes to the state, visits the state, or the prime minister. Then the chief minister has to follow certain official procedure that is known as protocol. Relentless, I would think of you guys when it comes to this particular word. Your relentless efforts will definitely bring in positive results. Relentless means what? Unceasingly intense, without stopping continuously. You guys are striving, working very hard for success. Vigil, we have got many a time. Stay alert to guard something. Vigilant, vigilance, related word forms. Reiterate, I use regularly. Say something again or a number of times, typically for emphasis or clarity. Hazardous, dangerous, hazardous material, dangerous material. And apparently means as far as one knows or can see. You can also use the word apparently means obviously. Usherer, two different meanings. Usher in this context cause or mark the start of something new. Usher in something, mark the start of something new. It has a positive connotation. But the other meaning of the word usher, when you go to the theater, let's say you have gone a little late, it's dark, there's a guy near the door with a torchlight or a flashlight. He shows you the way to your seat. That person is called usherer, to show the way, to show the path. Dearth, we have got so many times. Dearth of ideas, dearth of resources, dearth of money, a scarcity or lack of something, shortage of something. Cite, we have got refer to a passage, a book, or author as evidence for or justification of an argument or statement. Cited, you can also think of the word quoted. Adherence to rules and regulations. Generally, it goes with rules, laws, attachment or commitment to a person, cause, or belief. And paradigm, a typical example or pattern of something, a pattern or model. You can consider the word a typical model of something. Gloss has got two or three meanings. The typical meaning of gloss, shining, and in this context, it means an explanation for a word or phrase or a situation. Absolve is it's an important word. Declare someone free from guilt, obligation, or punishment. You can also think of the word exonerate, free from blame. Stringent, we have got so many times. Stringent means what? Very strict. It goes with rules, laws, stringent laws. Pellets, small, rounded, compressed mass of a substance. And the last word, surveillance, we have got, and we all know CCTV. Generally, when it comes to CCTVs or closed circuit cameras, why do we use surveillance? Close observation, especially of a suspected spy or criminal. These are the words, but many of these words are rather easy, familiar, should not be a problem. Safety at all costs. As I said, every editorial is written based on a stimulus, based on a particular incident. Something happened in Tamil Nadu, fireworks factory, fireworks unit, and based on that, editorial talks generally about fireworks units, fireworks industries, and what are the protocols to be maintained, and what is the role of the center, the state, and the employees, how careful they have to be because they deal with hazardous material. Obviously, it has to talk about for two reasons. One, the accident. The other one, fireworks department as such, industry as such. One has to be cautious. Safety at all costs. All these people, employees who work for a particular fireworks unit or industry, obviously they do it for survival, livelihood. But what matters here, safety of the employees, very important. Safety at all costs. There is one important expression over here, phrase. At all costs, at any cost. We use two expressions. At all costs, one thing. At any cost, you have to do something. Means what? Under any circumstance, whatever the situation may be, safety is very important. Based on that, what is the main idea of the editorial? Government should ensure implementation of safety protocols in the fireworks industry. As I said, this is all about fireworks industry. When it comes to fireworks industry, what is of utmost importance? Obviously, safety. So here, governments is a subject, should verb, helping verb, should do what? Ensure implementation of safety protocols, one phrase, in the fireworks industry, another phrase. Try to divide the sentence and try to identify the subject, the verb, the object, and also the related or associated phrases and clauses. That helps in the exam in the long run. Here, government subject, should is a helping verb. As a smart learner, you should immediately recollect the functions of should. It has two functions. What is the first one? It is used to advise or suggest someone. Second one, it is used to express a possibility, but the chances are less. Government should do something. Generally, we use the word should to advise or suggest, and immediately after that, you find the expression what one should not do or what one should do. You should not waste your time. You should stop this. You should do that. You should do this. So here, the editorial says government should ensure implementation, make sure of something. What is it? Implementation, ensure implementation. And here, of safety protocols, implementation of what? Safety protocols, of safety protocols, a prepositional phrase, where in the fireworks industry, another prepositional phrase. Try to identify the phrases very carefully. The death of, now the actual incident based on which this editorial has been written, the death of four workers on New Year's Day in a blast at a fireworks unit in Kalatur village of Virudnagar district, the hub of the firecracker sector in Tamil Nadu, reiterates the need for relentless vigil to enforce safety protocols in an industry that deals with hazardous process. This is really strange. Look at the sentence, the length of the sentence. A lengthy sentence, it looks like a paragraph. But here, the death, that is a subject, of four workers, a phrase. It is a phrase. On the New Year's Day, we also use one standard phrase. On the eve of the New Year, on the occasion of the New Year, on New Year's Day, another phrase. Listen very carefully, try to get that ability to identify the phrases and clauses. That helps in the long run. In a blast, a phrase. At a fireworks unit, a phrase. In Kalatur village of Virunag district, another phrase. Now it talks about this district, the hub of fireworks, firecrackers sector in Tamil Nadu. This is again a phrase related to Virudnagar district, the place, Kalatur village of Virudnagar district, the hub of the firecracker sector in Tamil Nadu. reiterates. Now we have the verb. What is the subject here? The death. And the verb related to the subject reiterates. All other words are just adding information to the to the subject, the death. The death, who, when, where, how. Usually they take these question words and provide information. The death reiterates the need for relentless vigil to enforce safety protocols in an industry that deals with hazardous process. Here, subject the death, it reiterates, Now, let me tell the meanings of all these words. Protocols, official procedure, hub, the center of activity, reiterate, to say something again many a time, just to emphasize. Relentless, unceasingly intense means a lot of effort without stopping. Vigil, being observant, and hazardous, dangerous. The death reiterates the need. Reiterates what? The need. This is the object. Subject, the death. Verb reiterates the need. Object. Again, you have a phrase, need for relentless vigil to enforce safety protocols in an industry that deals with hazardous process. I hope you guys can understand. In a nutshell, the sentence talks about the need for relentless vigil to enforce safety protocols in an industry that deals with hazardous process. It's sheer common sense. Any industry that deals with hazardous processes, what is a prerequisite? Implementation of the protocols related to safety, the very important, a prerequisite, indispensable, essential. It talks about the same. But so many phrases and so many words, when you read a sentence like this, usually in editorials, you come across lengthy sentences. And beginners, they find it so difficult to understand. Whenever they come across a sentence that looks like a paragraph, of late, when it comes to bank exams, because the competition is so severe, the numbers they touch 30 lakh, 40 lakh. In fact, 2018, I suppose, one particular exam, almost 98 lakh applied, close to 1 crore. How do they eliminate? How do they filter? They try to make it very difficult for the candidates. One of the approaches, one of the strategies, in the past, before 2016, the sentences would be short, simple, easy to understand. Now you come across lengthy sentences. It takes a lot of time. There are a few problems in the exam if you come across lengthy sentences. One, takes a lot of time. Two, you have to read twice or thrice. Third one, difficult to comprehend. Fourth, there is a possibility to get confused. What is the actual subject? What is the related verb? What are the phrases? What are the clauses? So you got to be very careful. The blast was said to have been triggered by friction caused by the mishandling of chemicals. The reason behind the blast, usually negligence or sometimes accidental, obviously, not intentional, not negligence, not being very casual. This sentence talks about the reason behind the blast. The blast was said to have, was said, it is said, it was said, to have been triggered. This is in passive voice, to have been triggered. Whenever you see the word been and after that the verb in the past participle form, you have to think of perfect tenses in passive voice, to have been triggered by friction. What is the main reason over here? Friction caused by the mishandling of the chemicals. Friction is the actual reason, but what is the reason for that friction? Mishandling of chemicals. Apparently, as far as one can see, as far as one knows, obviously, the workers had come to the unit for a puja to usher in 2022. Very unfortunate. It was an auspicious occasion, something positive. They wanted the new year to be very good, prosperous. Unfortunately, it became a tragic, the same day, tragic incident. Apparently, the workers had come, it is in past perfect, to the unit for a puja to usher in 2022. Usher, it has got two different meanings. One is as a noun, usherer, one who shows the way in the theater. Usher means mark the beginning of something new. In this context, it is a second meaning. Even though the authorities have suspended the unit's license and filed cases under the Indian Penal Code and Indian Explosive Substances Act, they have not cited violations such as the license holder leasing out the unit to others and manufacturing products unauthorizedly. Usually, what happens, someone gets the license. He doesn't have the expertise to make fireworks or firecrackers. He gives a license unauthorizedly. He leases out the license to someone else, and someone else who could not get the license runs the show, operates the unit based on his expertise. And in this context, they haven't cited, the officials have not cited that sort of a violence. It talks about that. Even though immediate reaction from the authorities, obviously they have to suspend the unit's license. Even though the authorities have suspended, here again, you have a contrasting word expression, even though, and the authorities have suspended the unit's license and filed cases under the Indian Penal Code and Indian Explosive Substances Act. They have not cited present perfect. Violations such as the license holder leasing out the unit to others is a common practice over there, and manufacturing products unauthorizedly. Everything in place, still they have cancelled or suspended the license, and these reasons have not been cited. Now he talks about generally this industry. Over the years, the district has seen numerous blasts, and successive state governments had formed at times committees to study the factors that led to the blasts. It talks about something that has been going on over the years, an important phrase. The district has seen, again present perfect, numerous blasts, not one or two, numerous. And based on that, successive state governments had formed at times, sometimes committees. And what was the objective? To study the factors that led to the blast, the reasons behind the blasts. There have been improvements in the way the firecracker industry has been functioning. Here you have present perfect continuous has been functioning. There have been. This writer has used a lot of sentences are in present perfect and present perfect continuous. There have been improvements in the way the firecracker industry has been functioning. Obviously, change is inevitable and something positive, highly appreciable. For example, to substantiate that statement, the writer provides one example. For example, the extent of child labor has reduced considerably. Whenever you write an essay related to child labor, do remember you have to talk about industries like firecrackers, fireworks, carpet industry, glass industry, bangle industry. These are the industries that employ child that resort to child labor. They employ kids. The extent of child labor has reduced considerably. But with regard to adherence to and monitoring of safety protocols, the track record leaves much to be desired, an important expression. When it comes to child labor, it has reduced considerably. Contrasting information, but with regard to adherence, adherence means what? Sticking to, following rules and regulations. Adherence to and monitoring of safety protocols, the track record leaves much to be desired. Means what? The track record is not up to the mark and there's so much to be done. It leaves much to be desired. You have to remember this expression, an important expression. They may go under phrase replacement. There has to be a paradigm shift. Has to be, has to or have to, helping verb, used to express an obligation imposed by an external authority or a situation. In this context, situation, there has to be a paradigm shift, a perfect model, something that is ideal. In the manner an event such as Colossal Blast is viewed, they have to change the outlook, the attitude, and the shift has to be somewhere else. The focus has to be somewhere else. Generally, any blast is called an accident, but such usage unwittingly tends to gloss over the role of those who are responsible for the implementation and the enforcement of safety protocols. What it talks about, imagine an accident like this. You say it was an accident, then people may take it for granted. They may not look into it very seriously. And there's a possibility of those who are responsible, they may go scot free. Scot free means escape punishment. It talks about that. Generally, any blast is called an accident, any blast. But contrasting information, such usage unwittingly tends to gloss over the role of those who are responsible for the implementation and the enforcement of safety protocols. There can be no compromise on this account. Every incident we cannot say it was an accident. We have to do research, find out the exact reason for the blast. Only then we can bring the culprits to the book, and the culprits may not go scot free. At the same time, the contribution of the firecracker industry to the country's economy, especially that of Tamil Nadu, has to be acknowledged. We have to consider the importance of this particular industry and its contribution to the country's economy, especially that of Tamil Nadu. We have to acknowledge, we have to recognize. Why should we do that? Now the writer wants to substantiate. The sector employs 8 lakh people directly and indirectly in a backward region of the state with no assured irrigation. They cannot depend on no water, no irrigation, they cannot depend on agriculture. And this particular industry provides employment to 8 lakh people. Definitely, it has to be acknowledged. However, contrasting information, this does not absolve, exonerate, make someone free of blame. The industry of the responsibility to the life and the health of workers and the larger sections of the society. Just because they're providing employment, it doesn't mean that they can do whatever they want to, and it doesn't mean that they can relax when it comes to protocols, safety, all these things, and they are responsible when it comes to safety of the workers. In any investigation of the event, the authorities concerned should seriously consider translating into action some of the suggestions made by an 8 member committee constituted by the National Green Tribunal after a blast in the district that killed over 20 people in February 2021. A lengthy sentence. What does it talk about? In any investigation of the event, the authorities concerned, an important expression. Usually, people make a mistake. They say concerned authority is not correct. Authorities concerned means related to. They should seriously consider the translating into action. Whenever there's an incident like this, the state government or the center forms a committee. The committee does the research and comes up with a few suggestions and translating into action some of the suggestions. What does it mean? These suggestions should be implemented. And in this context, the suggestions made by an 8 member committee constituted by the National Green Tribunal after a blast in the district that killed over 20 people in February 2021. Feb 2021, there was an incident where 20 people got killed. Then a committee was established, 8 member committee. The word committee, you have to think from exam point of view, very important. It is a collective noun. Important examples: committee, jury, group, team, staff. When it comes to collective nouns, usually they take a plural, a singular verb. But if the sentence talks about division, we have to use a plural verb, a plural pronoun. That you have to recollect. Headed by former judge of the Punjab and Haryana and Madras High Courts, K. Kannan, the panel had suggested that the Explosives Act be amended to make punishments more stringent than now, employing only certified persons for operations including mixing, filling of chemicals, and the making of color pellets, and using drones for surveillance of various units. This sentence talks about some of the suggestions, and it talks about the panel had suggested, past perfect tense, that the Explosive Act may be amended. Amended means what? Implemented. Or not implemented, amended means modified, change, based on the situation. Amendments, a word that is used when it comes to the Constitution. Quite often we say constitutional amendments. To make punishments, one suggestion: make punishments more stringent, more strict than now, employing only certified persons when it comes to operations including mixing, filling of chemicals, and the making of color pellets. And the third suggestion, using drones for surveillance of various units. All these are suggestions. How does the editorial end? There's no dearth of ideas. Usually we have come across this word many a time. Dearth means scarcity of something, lack of something, shortage of something. There is no dearth of ideas to improve the working of the industry, but what is required is that the authorities, both at the levels of central and state governments, should ensure the enforcement of safety protocols. This is the main idea of the editorial. When it comes to ideas, there is no dearth. What is missing over here? Implementation. Based on that, the editorial says there is no dearth of ideas to improve the working of the industry, fireworks industry. But what is required is that the authorities, both at the levels of central and state governments, should ensure the enforcement of safety protocols, implementation of safety protocols. So, this is all about the editorial, an important editorial. And do remember, child labor, one of the important topics when it comes to descriptive English. Child labor is an important topic. Whenever you want to write an essay related to child labor, you have to keep in mind three industries. One is fireworks industry, second is carpet industry, third is glass industry and bangles industry as well. You have to mention. Let us have a look at the questions based on this editorial. What is this editorial about? Obviously, safety when it comes to fireworks industry. What reiterates the need for relentless vigil to enforce safety protocols? Something reiterates. What does it? What is it? You have to answer. Over the years, what has the district seen? Over the years, the district of Virudnagar has seen something. What has it seen? You have to answer. How many people does the sector employ? This question is based on statistical data. Do remember when it comes to passage, sometimes what happens, usually it is 700 to, in the past it was 400 to 500 words. Now average 700, I can say 700 to 800 words. But sometimes once 2017, RRBPO, they give an essay about 1200 words, a lengthy essay. Many candidates, they got the panic, they left the essay. But do remember, they also know within the stipulated time period you have to answer. It is not practically possible. Keeping that in mind, a lengthy essay usually has easy questions. The questions are based on explicit information, the questions are based on statistical data. My suggestion, whenever you come across a lengthy passage in the exam, prelims or mains, don't panic. Don't leave that essay. You have to read. Don't leave that passage. Read. If it is a lengthy passage, do remember they ask questions related to explicit information and also ask questions based on statistical data. And imagine that passage has about 7 to 8 paragraphs. You can't afford to read the entire essay, not possible. At least you have to look at each paragraph, the first sentence quickly. Usually, writers they provide the main idea, the topic sentence. When they begin the paragraph, they start with the topic sentence. That is one thing. And whenever you come across a question related to statistical data, scan quickly and look for statistical data. You find the answer. In this context, clearly mentioned about 8 lakh people, that is easy to locate. What does not absolve the industry of the responsibility? Absolve, exonerate, make someone free of blame. Very important. Today, I have a meeting at 9. Because of that, I haven't brought the practice questions based on exam topics. You're going to work on editorial vocabulary. So have a quick look at the words and try to get the meanings with parts of speech. I have an important meeting at 9. I can't afford to skip that meeting. So I had to skip practice questions based on exam topics only for today. Please understand that. Hub is a noun. So, what is the meaning of the word hub? Hub has got many meanings. One meaning, the center part of a wheel. Another meaning in this context, effective center of activity. A place where the main activity takes place or happens. Hub of IT sector or hub of the IT department. So answer is J. Protocols, obviously, it has to be noun. Official procedure. When the Prime Minister visits a particular state, the Chief Minister has to follow certain rules and regulations, official procedure. For those we use protocols, important word. The CM has to follow the protocols. Relentless efforts. You guys, whenever I see you people, I think of this word. You guys have been putting in relentless efforts, relentless adjective. Means what? Unceasingly intense, day in and day out, around the clock, burning the midnight oil. So answer is F. Unceasingly, without stopping. Vigil, it is a noun. Vigilance also noun form. That is right. And what is the meaning of that? Lack of something. Say something again. Stay alert. Be observant. Usually it goes with be awake and observe something. It goes with different context. But generally, now we can say it goes with be alert, stay alert. Reiterate, I use regularly. Reiterate, a regular verb. Reiterated means what? Say something repeatedly, or say something again or repeatedly for emphasis, obviously. Hazardous material, no second thoughts, adjective. Hazardous substance, hazardous material. Dangerous material. Risky also, another meaning of the word risky. Usher, it is a verb. Usherer, the noun form. Mark the start of something new, and this has a positive connotation. In the editorial, the writer says, usher in 2022. A positive connotation, but sometimes you never know. Things become counterproductive, they boomerang. Dearth, it is a noun. Dearth of, scarcity of, means what? Shortage, lack of something. E is the answer. Apparently, adverb. And as far as one can see, as far as one knows, obviously you have to think of all these. Stringent adjective, we have got so many times. Stringent rules, stringent laws, very strict. And today's schedule, 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. Hindu, 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. CHSL, CGL, important questions. Unacademy SSC YouTube channel, 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. special class free. Unacademy platform, grammar, exam topics. And this offer, 22% offer, extended till January 5th. And use my referral code Murthy10. 22% substantial. It is worth considering. That's all for today. Thank you very much. Have a nice day and join the Telegram group. After the session, I'll provide the